Welcome back, 8th graders. I am absolutely thrilled to be with you today for a lesson that is, frankly, going to completely transform the way you read. We're going way beyond just scanning words on a page to truly unlocking the deep meaning behind them. Today's explainer is all about charting our connections, and we're going to kick off this journey by anchoring ourselves in a really powerful biblical principle, one that perfectly sets the stage for what we're about to do. Take a look at this incredible verse right here from Habakkuk 2:2. Write the vision, make it plain on tablets, so he may run who reads it. Just as God values absolute clarity and emphasizes how important it is to write things down so people can actually take action, we are going to apply that exact same wisdom to our academic lives. We are going to write down our reading connections today. Why? Because when we take those abstract thoughts floating around in our heads and make them plain on paper, we gain clear, actionable wisdom that we can literally run with. So here is our roadmap for today's lesson. First up, write the vision plainly. Second, the 3-column chart. Third, analyzing connection strengths. Fourth, real-world chart examples. Fifth, your weekly reading mission. And finally, the godly learner philosophy. Let's jump right into section 1, write the vision plainly, and finding our purpose in reading. Moving to section 2, the 3-column chart, which is going to be your visual organization tool. Okay, let's dive into this. Our main goal today is to catch all those abstract ideas you get when you're reading a great book and capture them before they fly away. So here is exactly what we're going to achieve together. First, you'll learn how to organize different types of connections visually, so you can actually see how your brain is processing a story. Then, you'll learn how to compare the value of those connections to figure out what boosts your comprehension the most. And practically speaking, you're going to use these charts to prep for your writing assignments and class discussions. Setting this up is, honestly, a breeze. Step 1, you just draw 3 columns on a piece of paper or, in your digital notebook. Step 2, as you read, simply jot down brief notes into those columns whenever a connection pops into your head. And hey, you don't need to write full paragraphs here. Just a quick note to capture the thought. Finally, step 3, and this is the most important part, you review the chart after you're done reading. So let's take a look at what those columns actually are. Here is how your chart is going to look. You've got a column for text to self, where you relate the reading to your own personal life. You have a column for text to text, connecting what you're reading right now to another book, a movie, or an article you've seen before. And finally, text to world, where you connect the reading to real events happening out there around the globe. Think of this table as your ready-made bank of ideas. The next time you have to write an essay or your teacher calls on you during a discussion, you are not going to freeze up. No way. You'll have a clear, written vision sitting right in front of you. On to section 3, analyzing connection strengths to really deepen that comprehension. You see, this charting method trains our brains to be deliberate about making connections, instead of just relying on the easy, automatic ones that pop up without us even trying. When you finish reading and look over your chart, the very first thing I want you to ask yourself is this: which column has the most entries? Just look at the sheer volume. If your text-to-self column is totally overflowing, well, that tells you that you had a highly personal, emotional reaction to the reading. The raw data of your notes is actually telling you a story about your own reading experience. But wait, we need to take it a step further. Ask yourself, which connection actually helped you understand the text's meaning the most? This is absolutely crucial, because we aren't just looking for quantity, we are looking for quality. Maybe you only had a single text-to-world connection on your whole page, but it was that one powerful insight that truly unlocked the entire text's meaning for you. Finding that golden connection, that is how you become a master reader. Section 4, real-world chart examples and visualizing our success. Let's look at a few examples, starting with example 1. Here, we have perfectly equal entries in all 3 columns, exactly 33% across the board. A reader with a perfectly balanced chart like this has a completely well-rounded understanding of the story. They're pulling equally from their personal life, from other texts they've read, and from the broader world. It's a great place to be. Now, check out example 2. Totally different scenario. Here, the connections are heavily skewed toward text to self, sitting at a whopping 75%. If your chart looks like this after reading a chapter, it shows that personal relevance is what really drove your understanding. You connected with those characters on a deeply personal level. And that's perfectly fine. It tells you a ton about why the story grabbed your attention in the first place. And finally, example 3. Look at this, a massive 70% focus on text-to-world connections. When you have this kind of strong real-world impact showing up in your chart, it usually means the text's themes feel incredibly urgent and important for today. You aren't just reading a fictional story anymore. You're reading something that feels like it speaks directly to current events and society as a whole. Section 5, your weekly reading mission and putting all of this into practice. All right, here is your 5-step homework mission for the week. Go ahead and pause or take a screenshot right now so you have this handy. Ready? First, create a 3-column chart for whatever you're currently reading. Second, challenge yourself to add at least 2 entries into every single column. Third, identify which connection type actually helped you the most. Fourth, write down just 1 sentence explaining exactly why that connection was the most valuable to you. And fifth, use your chart to prepare 1 stellar discussion point for your next class. Trust me, if you do this, you will absolutely be the most prepared student in the room. Finally, Section 6, the Godly Learner Philosophy, choosing wisdom over pure intellect. I'd love for you to read this passage from Romans 8:6-7 with me. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. As we dive into rigorous academic work, like analyzing and charting complex texts, we have to remember something vital. Keeping our minds spiritually centered is what ultimately brings true life and peace to everything we do. And yes, that includes our studies. And that brings us directly to the core philosophy here at HeroesMart Academy. We intertwine biblical morality with our education because, well, education without morality can actually hurt. We don't pursue academic excellence just to become more capable or to show off how smart we are. We pursue it so that true intelligence can help us make wise, God-honoring choices. We want to keep our minds fiercely centered on God, on truth, on wisdom, and on making righteous choices. So, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to ponder as you tackle your reading mission this week. How will you use your growing intelligence to make wise, God-honoring choices in the world today? Taking abstract words, making them plain on a chart, and deeply understanding the world around you, that is an amazing academic skill. But using that skill to pursue God's truth, now that is true wisdom. Have an absolutely great time charting your connections this week, 8th graders. Keep reading, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next lesson.